Hi everyone, welcome back to Colouring Kid. Today I'm going to be doing a desk tour slash art supplies collection. So I'll be showing you everything that I have mostly in it. But also, if you can see down here, I'll be showing you the colouring supplies that I use, what's on my desk, the colouring things that I have in this huge cabinet. This is going to be a bit shaky as it's a vloggy type video again. So I'm not going to have the fixed camera on the tripod like I usually would, and I just think it's quite so much easier to show you everything. So I'm just going to stand up and I will show you what's in here. So as you can see, I'll just push Tom's chair in. This is where I work. I do my homework here, I do everything here basically. I do my colouring, obviously, paper cutting, things like that. All my art and all my work I do here, which I know isn't very conducive, just having, one workspace, but it's good, and it's a good sized desk as well for the things that I have and that I need. So I think I will begin with what's actually on my desk. So you might have seen quite a lot of this before, but I'll just kind of run them through with you. So this is the pot I made recently for school, and I usually have pencils in here if I have a work in progress or something, but I don't have anything in here at the moment. I have a little pot with a sharpener somewhere, wherever it is. There it is, my sharpener, and I've been using these recently. These were actually those cheesecakes. I can't remember what the branding is, but they're really, really good, and they're just the jars from that, so we use that. Got a snow globe that Tom got me. Oh no, I think I got it as a present a couple of Christmases ago. As you might be able to tell from the polar bear stuff here, I love polar bears. So I've got my polar bear snow globe, a polar bear rubber, which I don't use because I can't bear to hurt it, and then a polar bear figure. I've got loads of polar bears upstairs, but yeah. I made this elephant clock at school. This isn't the right time, but oh well. Sorry. And then in here, I've also just got I actually cleared that out of shavings, but I've got a few left in there. I know that's a bad habit to have, but oh well. This doesn't actually have any colouring things in it, but this is kind of just more kind of arty things. So I've got glue dots here. I've got my blade for paper cutting. I've got headphones if I need them. I've got Zest It Blend, which I don't use because it's quite oily. And I don't know how people get it to work because it always bleeds through pages and things. And I use the tiniest bit as well, but oh well. And then in these two pots, I have this pot here, which is kind of more general things. So I've got a glue pen. Actually, I've got another one because the other one doesn't work. I've got a Sharpie gold pen. I've got my gold and silver Signos, which I recently just refound. I've got a couple of normal pens. I've got another blade, which isn't the best, but it's still quite good. Oops. Scissors, everything like that. So this is just really useful. This is kind of my, staple things that I always need on my desk. And here in this pot, this is more kind of the arty things. I've got pipettes for my inks. What are they called? Winsor & Newton inks. I've got all of my brushes here, and some of them are proper brushes. These are Winsor & Newton ones, the Winsor & Newton foundation. I've got a ruler. Some of them are just cheapy ones from Tiger, which are actually really, really good. And some of them are actually makeup brushes that I don't use anymore. I used this, the eyelash curler thingy. I used it for texture in my art book at the start of the year, and it worked really well. So these, and this is a paintbrush that I got with my small set of gelatos. So this is kind of just all my paintbrushes, things that I would use for watercolour. So it's just really useful to have there as well. So I will now begin to show you all of my things. So I've just got some water there for my watercolours. There are some things I've been working on for Easter. That was paper cutting and things like that. By the way, this is Joanna Basford's work, but I traced it and then used watercolour, so it's not my own work. But in here I have my Prismacolors. They're not all in here because I have some in other pencil cases all of the time, so it's not full, but as you can see, I've got all of them in here, I've basically got the 150 set now. They go up to here. Then I've got a few of my Hoi pencils or Hero pencils, because these are the greens that I actually really like and the colours that I would use for leaves. Here I've got my Caran d'Ache Supracolour watercolour pencils. These are all of the pastel-y colours that I use a lot with colouring, not for watercolour, but I do use them for watercolour as well. And I've got a few open stock ones here, and then I've got a few open stock Derwent Artist pencils, mostly the lighter colours, and I've got 2 for Fantastic Zoo as well. So that's what I keep in here. I try to make use of these as much as possible, and this is a 160 case, but it actually fits more than that, so I used this extra space because I need it, to be honest, for quite a lot. Not as much as other people, but still quite a lot. And in here I've got all my Faber-Castell. Again, I don't have all of them in here, but you might notice that they're all different. So I've got, if I go to here for example, I've got my Polychromos in here, I've got my Faber-Castell Classics right here, and then I think this, yeah, and then my Ecos. So I've got my Faber-Castell Classics, Faber-Castell Eco pencils, and my Polychromos. And I don't have the full 120 set of Polychromos. I think I've got about 75 or so. And I've got some open stock ones here, but this is just my oil pencil case basically. For any of you that don't know, I've ordered the Holbeins because I was saving up for them, so I need a new case for those, which I haven't got yet because I don't have any money because I've just bought them. So yeah, I was saving up for them for months, and it's just the thing that I have wanted the most. So that should be coming at the end of April, towards the start of May, so I've got quite a while to wait. But anyway, I will have an extra case. Okay, sorry, I have still got a bit of a cold. I had this for a while, and this wasn't always for colouring stuff, and I recently, the other day, literally just redid it. So these top 2 shelves are for colouring, and the bottom one is for my paper cutting. Here I have some paper that I was just using for the backs of my pages, you know, so the ink doesn't transfer. Sorry, that's our Samsung. But here I've actually got tracing paper that I have wanted to use instead of paper, just so that I don't waste all of the paper when I'm colouring, and you can reuse the tracing paper and everything like that. So I thought that was a better way to go in terms of the environment, saving paper and everything like that. In here I have not PDFs, but I've just got random bits of paper, things that my mum did, and this is just really useful to kind of be able to put everything in one area. That was something I was going to do for my cousins, but I never got around to. This was something from Instagram that I then did my own colours for, and I did write at Lily Sense here because this is not my own work, this is someone else's. I've just got colour combinations, everything like that. So this is just really useful to be able to store everything. This is an article in the newspaper about Joanna Battersford. I thought that was quite interesting. That was something my cousin coloured for me. I've just got some Colouring Pages Bliss, Peter Hewitt's designs, and some like freebies here. So I thought this would be a good place to just store it so I don't have loads of paper lying around. Here I've got my cutting mat, and I've just got some Winsor & Newton cartridge paper, and in 2 different sizes that one of my grandma's friends got me for Christmas. So if I just put these back, this was really unhelpful. This is the sort of thing with these vloggy things. I don't do any editing, so this is all real time. Okay, the 2 exciting trays. My first one, and what I will do is bring this out for you and put it onto my desk. In here is the things that I use every single day. Even if I don't finish a picture, these are the things that I always use. This case, I'm not going to go through these because I've actually got a video for my essential colouring pencil cases. So if you haven't seen that, that's on my channel. I think I did it a couple of days ago, so it'll be up there with kind of the newer things. This is the pencil case that I use on my everyday tools that I use for Fantastic Zoo especially. If you would like me to do a video on my top 10 colouring tools, then let me know. I've It might be quite interesting to do actually. This is my other essential case, which has just got all my other supplies in it. I'm not going to go into detail because I do have the video, but these aren't really, I mean, they are supplies obviously, but they're not, you know, actual things that I colour with, kind of. This is my empty case at the moment because I haven't put any works in progress in it, but this is a Faber-Castell grit pencil case that I use for if I've got works in progress or things like that. And then in here, I never know when I'm going to use my Holbeins. So I have my 12 set of pastel Holbeins in here. And I've used them quite a lot actually, so it will be nice to have the doubles of these 12, and then this is just the leaflet here. But I always keep those because I never know when I want to use them in a picture. If I use them mostly, it's usually with well, the flowers. Here I've got my swatch book. Again, I've got a video of how I organise my colouring supplies, so I've got a swatch book video here on my channel if you want to see that. And this is the book, again, that's I mentioned in that video, with all of my, you know, just testing out of colouring, pencils and things like that. So that's just there. So this is the thing that I use the most, and I just need right by me. And it was annoying when I actually had it in my shelving unit, because I would always have to get up and get it, and then it would get all messy. So I thought, well, this is just a quicker and easier way to have all of my supplies. It's quite heavy. Okay, in this second tray, this is the things that I use usually to finish off pages. So if I just move this over here, I've got my Rembrandt pastels that my mum had when she was younger. This Pour Blue here, this is really quite thin now, but I use that so much, and these are great. I love them. They're the half sticks, but they're still pretty big for half sticks. I'll show you that in a minute. I've got my Mungayo soft pastels again. This is the 64 set. This is quite hard to do one-handed, so I don't think I'll take them out of the... Actually, it might be useful for people wanting to know what's actually in this. Okay, sorry about that. I'll clear out my desk afterwards, it's fine. So I've got the paper here, but I actually did do a swatch of these, and it's very dirty now, but these are the colours that you get. They're the Rembrandt ones, and these are all of the Mungayo ones. I don't know, guys, sorry. But yeah, these are really, really good, and they're quite pigmented as well, so these are all of the ones that you get. Again, as you can see, I use this pink a lot, I use this blue a lot. The neon ones are great, I love those. So they are pastels. Okay, I'm just going to leave that and clear it out later. So then I have, obviously, to do my pastels with, I have this little pot of cotton buds, which I don't use as much as the pads or anything like that, but I just have them in case I need to get into small areas. I have then some cotton wool balls, which I actually have in a bigger pack, but I just put some into here so that they were easily accessible. And then I have all my pads in here, and I like to keep some of the coloured ones in here because then it just saves wasting them, and if I'm using the same colour twice in different pictures, I might as well just use the same pad. Then I have in here, I got this from Spain, this little case. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get this open. Oh guys, this is why I don't really do vloggy. Sorry, I'm just going to pop this here. There we go. Right, okay, I've opened it now. This is why I don't do vloggy things too often. Sorry about that. So in here, I just have these 6 pastel highlighters that I got from Spain, and they're great, and I use them to mark off completed pictures and things like that. This book you will have seen also. This is where I write things down for Fantastic Zoo. I count these as tools because they are. Then I've got my completed pages all written down in here. I've got my Margaret Wilson Wild Flowers book with all of the watercoloured flowers in here. They're great, and they're really useful for World of Flowers and things like that. Lastly, I've got this from Spain, which you will have seen if you would have also seen how I organise my colouring. This is where I mark off all my completed pages and things like that. So this is useful as well, to have a visual kind of look in at what I actually do. So that's what's by my desk. This is going to be quite a long video, I can tell. And so this is my space here, quite a lot. I like this. It says artist in residence, and I do art as well, so it's not just colouring. So I'm not going to go into detail up here because this has nothing to do with colouring really. I had a tidy of this. It still looks really messy, but it's better than it was. Here I've got some pencils, my Caran d'Ache gouache, my sketch pads and paints. Oh well, some of them. Here, this is my special memories box. I've got lots of things in there. These are the covers of the books that I didn't want the covers to get ruined. This is an Oreo tin that my parents got me from New York that just has random stuff in it. This is the case with those leftover super colours. So I had the 40 set and then I've got a few open stock. That's really everything up here. Here, mostly pads and things like that, you know, notebooks and things that it doesn't really have anything to do with colouring, but I've got all of my Millie Marotta postcards here, Joanna Basford, the postcards that I did for my mum. Just got some things in here. I've got all my washi tapes in here, and stickers and things like that. This is kind of all of these, if I'm wrapping something, then I'll tend to come over here. I've got thank you cards and things like that. I've got notebooks, so not really colouring related, but still kind of arty. And then all my books that go up to here. After this, that's my gouache book that I use. These are still colouring books, but I don't use these very much. I was really into Top Model, which is basically this thing where for kids you have a lady or a person or an animal or something like that, and you would colour it and design their own clothes, put stickers on and things like that. So it's something I was into, but I just have them here, but I don't use it too much now. And then obviously here we've got all of my colouring books. So we've got 100 Hugs, all the Rita Berman, the Waltzes for the Seasons, Fantastic Zoo, World of Flowers, Ivy, my mum's copy, Daydreams, Botanicum Sagarok Sagners, Twilight Gardens, Schematige, Dawn Nightfall, Dream Reese, my food book, Travelling Around the World Candy Colouring Book, Rhapsody in the Forest Minuet de Bonheur, Flower Year back here, which you can't see, Fairy Tales, Romantic Country, Mouse Guard, Magical Delights, all my Joanna Basford, apart from World of Flowers and Ivy, the Magical Journey and City books, Anamorphia, my Millie Marotta, the Flower Fairies book, the Beautiful Creatures, My Colourful Town, and my Hannah Lynn Colouring Heaven there. So yeah, not too many actually. Now this divider thing I used to have on my desk, but it was taking up quite a lot of space, and I told you when I was sorting everything out, I put this over here. So I did have all my cases and everything here, and this was my colouring shelf, but I didn't really use them, and I wasn't utilising the space very much. I just had paper and a couple of things that I used sometimes, so it was basically a waste of space to be on my desk. Here I've got some note things that I just wrote colours down. I've got some paper there. I've got my watercolouring things there. Well, mostly my watercolour paper and some spare pens. These are all of scraps of paper you can see that I've used over the months, which is kind of pointless being there anyway, but oh well. I'm going to kneel down now so you can have a better look at this. You might have seen this before. This is my case that I have all of my spare tools in here, like my blending pencils and my rubber pencils and things like that. And then in this case I have all of the other Guanghui pencils, which I don't use. I use them sometimes. It really depends what I'm working on and what colours I want. I'm just going to leave that there so nothing topples over. Here I've got my book that I've written down, colour combinations and things for Dream Reese. that's useful. This is my old swatch book, which you will have seen again if you've seen my essential colouring, how I organise colouring. This is a spare book that I'm going to just scribble in and do colour combinations. I got it from Hobbycraft. I think it was about £3 and it was on offer, and it's meant to be a sketchbook, but you know, I'm not using it for that. This is a small art grip case that I got. I think it was about £4, and it's just if I've got a few works in progress that's useful for. This is just a sharpener that I got from Tiger for £1. In here, if I can open the tin, it would be useful if I could, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Anyway, in here I've just got sharpeners. This I recently refound, and it's a stencil from Tiger that I'm going to use for bokeh or more kind of backgroundy things, hopefully. In here I have recorded my completed pages and things, so you can see that's Ivy, and you will have seen this again. I think I included it in that video. This is something that these are, you know, I don't really use them often, but I have the staple colours from my Guanghui that I use for the birds in Dream Reese, and then all the other pencils are my Staedtler Norris colours, so I just have them in there because it's just useful. Got a pencil wrap that I got with some pens. I've got one of my tea towels from my school that I use if it was especially with Ivy, because the cover was always getting dirty on my desk. Even though my desk was clean, it was just getting a bit run down, so I just put this on my desk sometimes if I wanted to keep it clean. Here I've got my 12 set of Pablos that was £6 in WH Smith. Never seen them there again for that price, and that makes me really sad. But in here I've got all of my spare cotton balls. I've got my 24 replacements of my Faber-Castell Classics, because I already had the 24 set before I bought the before I bought the 60 set. These are the Guanghuis that I do use quite a lot, that I just have here, and everything else is some metallic pencils, so it's a mixture of the Guanghui and the Faber-Castell Classic metallics, because I don't use metallics, so I don't see the point in using space for those. I'm just going to put these back. So, if that's kind of the end of my colouring stuff, well, not really. I've got some colouring things in here, but if you don't want to see arty things, then, you know, feel free to stop at this point, because lots of this is what I would use in my art book for school, or, you know, things that I would use for card making or things like that. So totally fine if you don't want to watch this part of the video. So here I've got my empty tins. I've got my Prismacolor. Actually, this has all my spare Prismacolors in, but, you know, you know, I don't need it that often. And then I've got my Faber-Castell spare tins, my Polychromos, my pens that don't really work anymore, my Faber-Castell Classic and Eco spare boxes. I've got my Winsor & Newton gold ink here, and my open stock Neos. I don't have many of these, but they're actually really good, and I used them on that Joanna Basford thing I was showing you. I've got spare jars, pens that I use for my bullet journal, which I haven't done for March or April, so that's bad. I've got all my drawing inks there. I've got 8 of them. Pens and pencils and things like that. These pens are really, really cheap. That my well, actually, they're really, really good, but I got them from one of my mum's friends, and I've been using them for that, the flowers things. And actually, I find that these are better, because they're obviously slightly cheaper than, you know, Staedtler pens or whatever. The colours are still pigmented, but they're not too bad, you know, they're not as pigmented, so when you water them down, they're really, really light and lovely. These are my Bic pens, markers that were half price, so they were only £10. Got my Zig Clean Colour water brushes, they're 24 set, don't really use them, but I have them. I've got my Daler Roni 24 set of watercolours that my mum had. I've got, again, pencils. I've got my Pentel pens. Here I've just got ink stamps, ink sets, things like that. I've got my plate and my watercolour pan. I've got empty tins. I've got my W.H. Smith pencils, W.H. Smith watercolours that my mum had, my empty box from my Grand Hoys, my empty tin from my super colours, and some pencil cases there. And that's it. I've got my sewing machine, as you can see, which I do use, but yeah, only sometimes if I'm doing projects or things like that. So I'm going to very slowly try to stand up without shaking the camera too much, because I know it can be very annoying. And this the camera's probably shook more than it has before. So I'm just going to sit down. So this is the entire workspace that I have, and I really hope you've enjoyed this video. It was actually really fun making. It wasn't as long as I thought it would be, but I've shown you everything, so yeah, it's not too much. Yeah, it's not too bad, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more vloggy style videos like this, let me know. I don't really know what I would do, because I don't do any of the editing side of things, so I wouldn't, you know, if I was going out and doing, you know, going to Hobbycraft or wherever, I wouldn't be able to do a vlog, because I don't know how to edit. So if you have any suggestions for videos, if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions for books I should get, let me know. To any new subscribers, hi. I hope you're enjoying these videos. And I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!